How do you feel when you're being ignored? How would you feel if I stood up here and talked to that screen? What goes through your mind? How do you react? Now contrast that with how you feel when you're being engaged, considered, and acknowledged. One of our strongest human desires is to be acknowledged. I know. I grew up in a family of 11 children, and I'm child number 6. That's the middle child, and I'm still waiting to be acknowledged. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be up here and get all this attention. Anyway, I digress. Going back to being ignored and knowing how you feel. As an individual or a business owner, would you ignore 50% of your market? What if I told you for centuries that's largely what's been happening? What I am talking about is the female economy, one of the largest emerging pool of wealth on the horizon, and it's largely being ignored. Has anyone here given it much thought? Put your hands up if you have. Good. I've got lots to share with you. Nobody can escape it. I'm getting the vibes that some people are thinking, surely the world is already tapping into the female economy. We see women out shopping, buying clothes, fashion, homewares. We see men sitting on benches outside the shops waiting for the women coming out, looking very bored. We see women doing lots of the grocery shopping, the groceries and children piled up in it. We see girls going on shopping trips. Yes, it is true. Women make the majority of purchase decisions and do a lot of shopping, but that does not mean we are tapping into the female economy and the needs and values of those women. It just means they're doing the majority of the shopping. When we're talking about the female economy, it is all-encompassing. Think about banking, finance, insurance, real estate, education, entertainment, technology, big-ticket items. Everything is relevant. Now, I have a particular interest in the female economy. Those of you who are observant may have noticed I am female. I earn and I spend money. And my life experience of watching my mother manage the family finances with 11 children, my own personal experience of being a single parent at the age of 18, my career of working with women right across Australia when I managed the Telstra Business Women's Awards nationally for 5 years, and at NAB where I had the privilege of leading the creation of an innovative program around helping women to be wise and confident with their life and money choices, has all instilled in me a deep passion to change the game for women. I've scanned the world and looked at insights into the female economy and the unique and intangible attributes of women as customers, as employees, and as contributors to the community and productivity. Enterprises virtually across every industry have been looking to tap into the female customer, but very few are doing it well. Most are paying lip service to it, coming up with a pink product or some flippant tokenistic message. The opportunity is enormous to tap into this female economy. The solutions are simple. A dedicated effort is required, but there is an opportunity to have significant impact in this space. The few that do are in a very privileged position to take enormous benefits from this economy. I'll share with you one organisation that is doing very well, and it is in the fashion space. But I thought I'd share that because the fashion space is so busy. There's lots of people and lots of organisations in it. Has anyone been into an H&M store anywhere around the globe recently? Yeah, a lot of the women have. You will notice it is a buzz. They have inexpensive fashion that's trendy and funky. They have high turnover, so every time you go in there, there's an element of surprise. They have tapped into the fact that women don't want to break the bank every time they go to buy an outfit. Also, if you look very closely at their organisation, they have a lot of women in senior management and on their board. They're very serious about their senior management reflecting their customer base. They know that women will vote with their wallet. Times are changing. Steeped in our past, majority of income was generated by men. And most businesses have orientated themselves around capturing that male market. I live in a very different world to my mother and grandmother, who had 11 children and 10 children respectively. I only had one, and he's here somewhere today, actually. Out there. They both had paid careers up until they started their families. They spent the remainder of their adult lives in an unpaid role caring for their families. I conversely started working when my son was 4 months old, and I've spent the rest of my adult life in a paid career. We're seeing times change from my mother's time, when women filled the family purse with an allowance from their husbands or partners, to women now filling the family purse for themselves and making choices of how they will spend that purse. We're very much moving from allowances to women allowing themselves to make the choices. And with those choices, women are looking for services and solutions that are aligned with their values and their needs. Women will vote with their wallets. This is serious. This is significant. Let me share with you a few statistics around the female economy. There's a lot, but I'll only go through a few. The number of women out-earning their husbands is increasing rapidly. In the US, by 2020, it's expected that 50% of women will be out-earning their partners. Australia is not quite there yet, but it's moving at a rapid rate. One of the fastest growing wealth demographics on the horizon is 25 to 40-year-old women. The number of women graduating from universities is outstripping men. The number of women participating in the workforce is increasing rapidly, and the level of roles they are taking on is as well. If we continue to close the gap between male and female employment rates, we could increase GDP by 11%. Women generally outlive men and will inherit and transition this generation's wealth. In Tokyo, Goldman Sachs did an index around 115 companies on the Tokyo stock market who will stand to take advantage of the increasing purchasing power of women. Over a 10-year period, the shares in those companies rose by 96%, compared to the rest of the stock market that only rose by 13. So I'll say that again. They rose by 96% compared to 13 for the rest of the stock market. This is substantial. So whilst this change is going on, let me share with you how women feel in business transactions and when they're making purchases. Now, this isn't all the time, And I'm not saying that men always have a great experience, but I've scanned the world and I've spoken extensively to men and women around this. And overwhelmingly, women share stories of how they feel uncomfortable, undervalued, and underserved in business and purchase transactions. I'll share with you one of my own personal stories. When I was 18 and as a single parent, I moved from the country to Melbourne. I went to several real estate agents to rent a flat. At the time, I had a permanent job, very well paid, in one of the largest organisations in Australia. As you do, I filled out the form honestly, and I had a lot of trouble renting a flat. It took me quite some time. 1 week after I was told one flat wasn't available, a male friend of mine went to that same real estate agent, filled out a form, and he was able to rent that flat, the one that I was told wasn't available. He wasn't even in a permanent job, in a very low paid role at the time. I know my situation was part of that consideration. Let me share with you another story of more recent times. A young woman I know who works for a bank went to get a home loan with her husband at a bank and spent some time talking to the bank manager about what they were looking for. For the majority of that time and that conversation, the bank manager referred to her husband, kept making eye contact with her husband, and at the key decision points referred to him to ask him what he thought. I can tell you that her husband was unemployed at that time. She was the one that was going to be servicing the loan. She was the one that had decided mainly where they were going to be buying the house. Do you think that bank got her business? No. This is how women feel. Overwhelmingly, I have stories that are shared with me all the time along these lines. And this is happening at a time when the female economy is going through the roof. The opportunity is enormous for individuals and organisations to pay attention to what women are looking for and capture this enormous opportunity. Now, you may be thinking, is this relevant to me? Let me tell you it's relevant to everybody. You may be female. If you're not, you have a mother. You may have a wife, a daughter, a sister, an auntie. If you have superannuation in this country, it's highly likely that superannuation will be investing in businesses. And if those businesses are not tapping into the ever-increasing purchasing power of women, they are missing out on a great opportunity. As an individual in business or a business owner, if you are not doing something consciously to capture the female economy, you are not doing the best thing for your business. The solution is simple. Dedicated effort is required, but the impacts are significant. One other thing that I wanted to share with you also is women perceive wealth differently to men. They look to invest in organisations who are socially responsible. And they also look to invest in organisations who have diversity in leadership, much more so than what men do. There is a better way. There can be a win-win for business, a win-win for women, and a win-win for society. I work with businesses who are looking to tap into the female economy, and there's hundreds of things that I can share with you about those, but we don't have time for those today, so I'll just give you 4. Number 1, relationships. Women are looking to do business through relationships much more than on a transactional basis. Women are connection cravers. Number 2, empathy. Put yourselves in the shoes of a woman and look at the world through her eyes. Understand you need to fit in with her busy schedule. Help her organise her life. Number 3, authenticity. Do not stereotype women. Do not come up with some simple pink solution or some tokenistic message. Women are inherently sceptical, and you will do yourself more damage than good by doing so. And number 4, diversity. Diversity in leadership. Look at your leadership being able to understand and reflect your customer base. Simple things that you can do to really change the game. I'll leave you with one final last thought. Next time you have an Australian coin in your hand, you will notice there's a female on that coin, the Queen. I encourage you to use that as a trigger to think about, are you tapping into the female economy? It means a lot more to you than loose change. Thank you.